Hey everyone, this is Megan from My Hero Wears Camo. I'm one of your administrators, and I wanted to make another video about PTSD. I've been seeing a lot of comments, questions, and concerns regarding PTSD and your loved ones, so I thought I would give you guys another video with a little bit of a different perspective on PTSD, more of a psychological standpoint. As you guys know, I will have my bachelor's degree in psychology next year. I do plan on going into the military with this and hopefully helping soldiers with PTSD and military families. I have a lot of experience with this. I do have a lot of knowledge about this particular topic, mainly because this is my career that I'm going to be making out of it with this topic in particular. So, with that being said, I do know what I'm talking about, and I'm not just going to blow smoke up your ass. So I hope you guys can find something a little bit useful or helpful out of this video. So with that being said, I do want to show you my book. It is the Penguin Dictionary of Psychology. I'm going to read you the definition of psychology because not many of you actually know what the definition of psychology, of PTSD actually is. You do know it stands for post-traumatic stress disorder, which is correct. But what many of you don't know is that it's actually an anxiety disorder. So here I'm going to read this for you. An anxiety disorder that emerges following a psychologically distressing traumatic event, such as a natural disaster, a bad accident, war, or rape. So I want you guys to know that PTSD is not something that just your soldier is going to encounter. PTSD is something you may have. PTSD is something that a lot of people do have and experience PTSD symptoms. So I just want you guys to know that whether or not your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend has been to a war zone, they could come back experiencing PTSD. They don't even actually need to be deployed to experience PTSD. A lot of times people associate PTSD with soldiers or people of the military because that's where the highest rate of it is. But a lot of teenagers have PTSD. A lot of abused people have PTSD. And there are many different signs and symptoms of PTSD that can be recognized. One of the main things to note is that PTSD is a treatable condition. It does take somebody making that first step to get treatment for it. Whether that treatment may be medication, therapy, just talking with somebody else, it is treatable. You can overcome this, and it's not something that is going to take over the rest of your life if you don't let it. That's a huge thing. You have to be able to not let this overcome and not let this take over your life. That is one of the biggest ways of overcoming PTSD. A lot of times, your soldier may not think anything's wrong. And sometimes it takes a while for PTSD symptoms or signs to actually kick in or for you to even recognize them. Sometimes they come back and it happens right away. Sometimes they've already been experiencing PTSD while they were deployed. And that's another thing. The most important thing to remember is that this is not your fault. Never, ever, ever think that this is your fault. It is not something that they intend to do, and that this person who you're seeing is not the person that you married. They're very changed, and it's something to take with extreme caution. And I say that because PTSD can lead to abuse, it can lead to suicide. There are many negative things PTSD can lead to. I'm sure you guys are all well aware of some of the shootings that have been happening and things like that, where PTSD was most likely a huge factor in that. So I just want you guys to be super, super cautious when taking that into consideration. Another thing that is very important is the fact that it's okay to seek help for yourself. Whether or not your spouse or whoever is experiencing PTSD, they are not the only ones who need to seek help. Sometimes you might want to talk to a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or your doctor or your chaplain or whoever you feel comfortable talking with. Jessica and her husband really made a very good point. You should not be upset if your spouse wants to talk to one of their battle buddies, because you weren't there and you don't know why sometimes they're experiencing this PTSD, and sometimes they don't know. A lot of times they do, but sometimes they don't. So don't be surprised if you're not the go-to person that they want to talk to. Just be able to be there and comfort them and support them through what they're going through. A lot of times PTSD is very easily overcome, provided you are able to get the right treatment and be able to support your soldier or your loved one through what they're going through. It is a very difficult task. It is a lot easier said than done. I do know that firsthand. The other thing is that encourage the person that you love that it's okay to seek help. It's okay. It's not a sign of weakness. I know a lot of soldiers think that. My husband thinks that. It's kind of ironic because, I'm going into the military as a psychologist, and he thinks that it's a sign of weakness to go see a psychologist, which is very ironic because I think everyone needs to see a psychologist. I go see a psychologist. It's totally fine. It's actually mandatory for psychologists and psychiatrists to see another psychiatrist or psychologist. In most states, that is anyways. Excuse me. So definitely encourage seeking help. You don't necessarily need to encourage them talking about it, but if it's becoming a problem and they are not handling it very well and it's starting to affect you or your children, that is when the encouragement for seeking help definitely needs to start. If it's, affecting you, maybe you should talk to them about it. Communication is very, very, very important. Not necessarily talking about what happened or why they're experiencing PTSD, but talking to them about how you're feeling sometimes can help open them up a little bit into how they're feeling and how they're acting, or the different things that you're noticing that they're doing. And it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel upset. Any feelings or emotions that you have are 100% valid, and nobody can tell you that what you're feeling is not okay. So I do want to make that a big flashing point that what you are feeling is okay. A lot of people think that it's not okay to be upset with your loved ones for being that way. It is okay. How you react and how you go about your daily life with those feelings, though, is another story. You certainly don't want to take out your anger on them for acting this way, but it is okay to feel angry inside. And if you are feeling anger or you're upset or you're feeling hurt, go talk to somebody. Talk to one of your girlfriends. Talk to a friend that you may have, your chaplain, anybody that you trust. On a side note, excuse me, I'm sorry. That is something very important too, to talk to somebody you trust. I know a lot of you who are going to be watching this are probably all know that military wives are probably worse than your worst high school nightmare. I know, I'm well aware. I've experienced horrendous military wives in my past, and it is not a pleasant thing to go through. So to definitely talk to somebody you trust. Somebody who's not going to go back and spread rumors about you behind your back, so make sure that you trust them. I myself am always here for you guys, and you guys can definitely trust me. And I know our other administrators are on here that you guys can trust them too. So if you ever need to talk to anybody, please feel free to message us at any time. Message me on my personal page if you want. A lot of you do have my phone number, so if that's something that you need, please feel free to ask me for it. I can be reached at all times. I'm sure a lot of you will vouch for that you've talked to me at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So please feel free to contact us at any time if you're feeling any kind of feelings that you're not sure of, or you just want to get something off your chest. You have vent days. Venting is a great way to kind of just let whatever's on your chest out and make you feel better, period. Whatever the reason may be, whether it's you're dealing with your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend experiencing PTSD, venting is a great way. Or there's another way to vent is writing a letter and then shredding it after you write it. Make sure you shred it. This is a very important part of writing the letter is that you shred it. Or burn it, or rip it up, and throw it in the trash, so that other people don't read it. So the last thing that I want to say before I end this video is that PTSD can lead to very serious consequences, like I said earlier. Some of them include spousal abuse, child abuse, suicide, thoughts of suicide, attempts at suicide, and those are all very negative things. I certainly don't want to see that happen to anybody here. I don't want to see that happen to anybody, and I'm sure you guys don't want to see that happen to your loved ones or be in that type of situation. If for some reason you do get caught up in that kind of situation, talk to your chaplain, go to Military One Source. There are many ways for you to seek help. If you're not sure, you can message us. We can always find a way to get you guys some kind of help. I do my best to be able to help you guys in any way, shape, or form I can. And it is very serious, and it's not something that should be taken lightly. So if you are in some sort of abusive situation, please let somebody else know. Help yourself and help your children so that this doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect them, because it does affect them in a different way than you might understand. So be able to do that for yourself at least. While your loved one is recovering or getting the help that they need to help better themselves in order to make your situation easier. PTSD is not something that is easy to go through. By any means, it is not easy. But it is definitely something that you can overcome. It is something that a lot of people do experience, and with us military wives, it's very important that we stick together and that we are here for each other to talk to be able to seek advice and whatnot. So with all that being said, that was a very generalized statement on PTSD, I guess you could say. If you have any specific questions or comments, please let me know. Let any of us know, and we'll be glad to make another video. I personally would be glad to make another video. Although I do have to say it is quite tedious when you have a dog, or you have children, or you have anything else going on in your life because everyone's interrupting you or whatever. So just please keep in mind that I'm going to wrap this up, and keep in mind that PTSD is something that you can overcome, something that you and your loved one can overcome with the love and support that they need. Sometimes more help than are in your hands is needed, and that is totally fine. So seek the help that you need, seek the help your spouse, seek the help that they need. Don't ever make them talk about it with you. They don't even need to talk about it to seek help. So that's another thing too. Try not to be pushy towards them, and definitely the most important thing is to love and support them 100% of the way. And sometimes loving and supporting them might mean taking a break for a little while if it gets to that point where it's necessary. And that is definitely important. But I do feel it is always possible to avoid that last outcome, I guess you could call it. So I hope you guys find this video helpful. If there's anything else that you want me to talk about or anything else like that, feel free to let me know. I'm going to be making another video right now about ways to keep your spouse and your children connected while they're deployed. So look for that video too, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.